get it. Let's get it. What's going on, everybody? Hopefully everybody had a fantastic holiday. We are back with another Sister Lives, back in effect right after the holidays, right after the craziness which appeared on Sunday night. Some of us were only able to see it today, but either way, it's still crazy.
Oh my gosh. It was such a good episode. What did you think?
I thought it was a good episode up until the point, like, it's just parts of it, to be honest with you, is starting to grate on me because of the way that Kody is treating Meri. Like, it's really at a point now where it's just like stone ridiculous and cruel.
Yes. I 100% agree. It was nice to see Christine just exist without talking about her wedding. So it's like, okay, she is capable of that. I love to see it. I loved to see like Christine's at a family event and it has nothing to do with her wedding or getting engaged or whatever. And I found that refreshing.
You know, that's actually a really good point, because in a lot of ways, the problems that not only Christine, but the other wives, the OG3 had, is that so much of what they were and who they were was tied up into a man. And the way that Christine's story is kind of unfolding throughout this particular season is basically her relationship with a man. So I think that's an excellent point. Like, this is the first time that we've actually talked to Christine about things going on with Christine that have nothing to do directly with David.
And of course, I did notice that they couldn't completely cut Garrison out of the graduation party. And it was nice to see him. And it was nice to see him in yellow, you know, like they obviously wore yellow because Savannah likes sunflowers, and I just thought that was really nice. He looked good, and I thought it would be like but I thought it was really nice to see him.
Yeah, it was good to see him in happier times.
Yes.
It was kind of, you know what was weird though? It's amazing to me how much he actually favors Hunter.
Yeah.
You know, like the two of them are very like, because if you caught Gabe, like the first sight of Gabe, I was like, oh wow, Hunter looks a little different, but you know, but it just didn't look like Hunter. And I was like, well, maybe that's Peyton. But I was like, no, he's too short for Peyton, because Peyton is like a Sasquatch, compared to the rest of the family.
You know, and my husband is as tall as Peyton. And for some reason, my husband doesn't seem that tall to me. But when I see Peyton, I'm like, you are a tree.
You're a monster.
You are just standing right there.
Right. Exactly. Well, because your husband's about 6'6", right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's the same size as I am, about 6'6", 6'7".
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So,
I didn't know you were that tall, James.
Yeah. I'm bigger in person.
We're always sitting down, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I'm like Peyton. So I can relate to Peyton. So when I see Peyton and respect everybody else, I kind of gauge where I would be around everybody else. But yeah, I saw Logan there. I saw Logan's wife.
Yep.
So
I always spot Michelle before I see Logan. I don't know. I feel like Logan does a better job of like slinking into the background, but Michelle's like always got a baby in her hand or something. So
right.
I'll notice like McKelty's babies, and then I'm like, oh, that's Michelle.
Right. Always front and center. Yeah, I saw her first too.
Yeah.
And that's how I actually knew to look for him.
Yes. Yeah. I'm like,
wow,
if Michelle's there, then probably Logan's there somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you never know. I mean, family's cool. Before
what
we get
I
too
cannot
far afield,
talk about when we get to this is straight up, they said Kody was not welcome.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, oh.
Well, my favorite part is, they don't want me there because I'm gonna bring Robyn. And if I leave Robyn home, I can show up. Like, no.
Janelle's like, no, we don't want you. We don't want you. We'll take Robyn because she'll just like hang out awkwardly by the door. We don't want you. We really don't want you here.
No means no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome.
Yes.
But he was big mad though. He was big mad. How they gonna have parties without me? This is ridiculous. We can jump right into that. We'll just take
Yeah.
the episode a little out of order.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
So what we're talking about actually is Christine's house where they were having Savannah's party. But before we get too far afield, thank everybody for joining. Give me a 1 in the chat just so that I can be sure that you guys can see us and hear us and we aren't just kind of busting it up between the two of us. Which I don't mind, but that would mean that you guys are sitting there waiting for us to appear, which would be bad.
You guys already know. I'll talk to a wall.
Right. I have talked to walls before. I see the ones jumping in. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. But what we're actually referring to is Savannah and Savannah's graduation party over at Christine and David's new house. And they have, like, obviously Janelle's kids are there, Christine's kids are there. Robyn and Kody not invited, and they were big mad about not being invited. But with regard to that, what did you think about like Cody's stance on him being able to go, and more importantly, his anger with not being included in the birthday party?
Well, so I was trying to like calculate how fast things have like deteriorated in this family, because where does a graduation party, I guess, rank on a list of like life events where you put aside family drama? Clearly nobody, Janelle and Christine, did not feel like this merited setting aside any grievances. They decided they could be petty about Savannah's party, and Kody, you are not welcome, Right. For Logan's wedding, it was like, no, he needs to be there. For Gwen's engagement party, it was determined he should be. I'm wondering, so Savannah graduated, I'm assuming in like May-ish of at some point. So Gwen's engagement party, I think, was like Valentine's Day of that year. So in a couple months, did they determine, like, you know what, Kody, it's better to just not have you at these kinds of things?
Right.
What do you think? I was trying to do the math.
Well, because I think what happened was, because Logan was married first, right?
Yeah, Logan got married in October of 2022, and Christine announced that she left Kody in November of 2021. When Logan got married, this was all starting to play out on the show, Christine leaving.
Okay.
So, I guess, according to the show, Logan's wedding was like the first family event that everyone was at since Christine announced that she was leaving. Janelle's kids really have a problem with Kody.
Yeah.
I guess I wouldn't go so far as to say hate, but it seems like, I mean, Cody's talking about he'll sweep Meri's driveway if she decides to build on Coyote Pass and this and that, but he doesn't. If Janelle built there, he would move, but he also kind of still wants to get back together with Janelle, but he can't because, the kids hate him and blah, blah, blah. And this dude makes no sense.
Right. See, because I think what might have happened, they might have had a few instances where they were inviting him to parties or like the wedding reception, not the wedding reception, but the wedding event and different things. And he made such a big deal about coming to those things. When it came time for the graduation, like, you know what, bump it. Like, why are we going to suffer through having them down here acting awkward? That's actually Christine's and David's new house. So, I can see Christine saying, well, I'm not going to have him at my house.
I don't want him to know where I live.
Right.
You see
He,
how he
he doesn't
just
need to
shows
see the
up to
inside.
places like the cul-de-sac and just hangs out outside?
Yeah, right. Staring at the window, through the gate. So I can see that. And as far as like the kids are concerned, especially if, because I really think that the kids are bothered. It bothers the kids to no end that Cody's so unfair to their mother financially. Like, because Janelle is
Oh,
getting screwed over.
when
Bad.
Caleb said that he was proud of Janelle, I was like, that was kind of a touching moment
Right.
because I think I have a feeling it's been like pulling teeth to get Janelle to the point where she's at right now.
Right. Right.
Even along the same lines as like Meri, getting Meri to realize, oh my God, I thought Meri was going to tiptoe right back into this marriage this
Yeah.
episode. I was like, girl, I'm so glad best friend Jen was holding it down for like rationalization this episode.
Yeah. Well, because we started the event, like the series or the episode, following up on last week's, the big cry session. So Cody's there crying and he's holding on to Meri, sobbing, openly sobbing because the marriages fell apart.
It's
And
the end of an era.
yeah. The thing that bothers me, and again, this is the one part, it set the tone for me. Because essentially, like I said last week, this confirms everything Meri was saying as far as how Kody would treat her. Like,
Yes.
you go through the whole process of divorcing her, separating from her, running her down, running her into the dirt, talking about how she chasing you around like a lunatic and a maniac and how you definitely don't want her. And for some reason, she keeps showing up, even though you keep insisting that you don't want her. And you on the verge of going down to the courthouse and getting a restraining order on this crazy lady who keeps showing up unwanted like a damn cat that you fed on the wrong night, right? But then when it's time for you to go, you're standing there crying, talking about you wish things could have been different, and acting as though you played no part in the dissolution of your marriage, which is insane to me.
What did
That's
he
insane.
say? He said, thanks for being cool.
Right. Yeah.
Like this motherfucker.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, that and we needed that 9 years of this long breakup where I was dragging you along so that I could feel comfortable leaving.
Sure.
What the shit? Like,
For sure.
are you serious? Like, I'm glad I made you feel comfortable by having my heart ripped out of my chest for 9 years. I'm
Yeah.
glad you feel comfortable about the separation now.
And it's
Well
so
done.
on par with like, I don't even know if Kody and Robyn even know what is reality anymore, because I just feel like they are characters of human beings. Like, they make no sense. They are constantly contradicting themselves. We have Robyn in this episode getting so excited that they're finally paying off the land, and it's like, to sell it, like to divide it. Like, you're paying it off to put some finality on it. Like, like what universe are you living in?
Well, because that's the whole point too, is that even with the whole idea of them selling the land, like, we're going to sell the land and we're finally in a position now where we're going to pay for it. And I'm so excited that this is what we're doing. It really struck me that, because I knew, like, obviously I watched it twice. But when you go back and watch it, her being so excited about them separating the land, but then at the same time, when it came time to talking about getting the land appraised, selling the land, keeping the land, building on the land, she's completely confused and doesn't know what she wants to do and how it's going to get done.
It was really funny because everyone knows I listen to the Shit Talk podcast with Ace and Caitlin, and they cracked a joke, and I thought it was so funny and probably true. They're like, Robyn is such a hoarder, like she can't even let go of this land that nobody wants to build on. Like, she just she just needs it because that's what Robyn does. She just hoards shit.
Right, right. Like it's just part of the process.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether it's a sickness, delusion, or it's just part of like a master plan. Like
Mhm.
part of me wants to give her credit, but the level that she would be operating on to keep the land, keep them trying to pump money into the land so she could obfuscate the money that she was stealing from them would be
Mhm.
Machiavellian level planning and strategy. You know what I mean? And I don't want to
Yeah.
give her that much credit, but at the same time, it's like either she's like crazy evil or she's insane. Because you're talking about, well, if we buy the land and pay for the land, and we would come together as a family. Christine is getting married. Janelle doesn't want to move on the land with you.
Nobody
Meri
wants
and
to be
Kody,
around
even though they're
you.
acting cool, they're now divorced.
Yeah.
How is the land being paid off going to bring the family together, you maniac? You, you know what I mean?
Exactly. It's like I'm gonna have a video out tomorrow, and it's gonna be all about how this cloak of charity is fully off for
Right.
Kody and Robyn, but especially for Kody. The network is not doing this dude any favors anymore. They are making him look like a fool. There were several things that he said in this episode where I'm like, did they like how did they get him to say that in these confessionals? Because it's like I don't know if he realizes how bad he comes off. And then Robyn's just sitting there being like, Kody just had to make a decision. I don't know how he comes up with any of this. It makes no sense to me. It's like, you guys look stupid and
Right.
foolish.
Right. Well, because I think that they're at the they're having what I like to think of as the liar's dilemma,
Mm,
because you're so pressed about telling a lie that's going to make you look good that you're not thinking about the lies that you've already told and the lies
yes.
that you're going to
Okay.
have to tell. But you're just so in the moment that you're just saying anything that sounds good for now. Because the
Yeah.
shit they say sounds good for now if you've never watched the previous episode ever.
See, and okay, all right, okay. So
You know?
thank you, because I'm like, I don't get it. It's like they don't
Right,
know that we've watched the show. They don't know that like the Sister Wives fandom is an invested fandom. Like
right,
people take trips to like Salsa Brava, right? Like
right.
people are invested. We are one with the community. They it's like they don't know that we know that they know. It's like,
Yeah, it's, you know what? Not only are the fans, and this is all due respect to the fans, be honest with you. Not only are they invested, but they're investigative.
yes,
So
people are looking up what year Cody's garments are coming out in.
right.
Like, remember that whole jacket gate from that outdoor snow fight
Yeah, when they shoveled
episode?
the spot for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the company that like made that jacket was like, I don't know why we're getting so many inquiries, but like this is when that jacket came out.
Right. This is the release date.
Yes.
All of such and such, you know.
Yeah.
And they did that for the jacket. They've investigated the jewelry when he had a little
Yes.
horse
The
ring.
art.
Right.
I did a whole video on the art because people posted it on Reddit. Reddit is an amazing Reddit is like Wikipedia for YouTube content creators. It's
Right.
like
Right.
it's an ever flowing
I'm telling you,
font
it's
of
crazy.
information.
So the idea that they think they can deceive these folks is astounding to me. Like, I get it. Like, if you think that maybe, you have casual viewers who maybe will watch this show once in a while and they maybe saw like an episode in season 3 and caught up again in season 17 and maybe watch 1 or 2 episodes in 18 and they might check you out this week, then the lies would make sense. But these folks, are you crazy?
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
you should
I
have
just
notes.
talked with my husband about Sister Wives on our podcast, and he was like kind of sort of defending Robyn, and I was like, get the fuck out of here with all that noise. Like, I was
Don't
like,
do
you
that.
obviously don't watch the show.
Don't
You
do
have
that.
no idea what you're talking about.
Right.
So
He's
yeah,
a
in a
good
one hand,
person.
if you're just like a casual passerby, you might see like 1 or 2 episodes. You might not really get the full scope. And like I've always said, I found Kody to be an enjoyable watch for several seasons.
Mhm.
And then as the family started to deteriorate, I started to resonate with, sometimes I would resonate with Christine, sometimes Meri, sometimes Janelle, so that always kept me invested. And of course, like the kids growing up kept me invested.
Right.
But man, I rooted for Kody
Right.
for
Right.
years.
But he's obviously turned the tide. He's turned the corner on that.
Yeah, but
Uh
I never. And sometimes I will say, okay, Robyn wasn't totally wrong here, but I never defended Robyn.
well, and that's the weird part about it, because I think part of the delusion that they had when they joined the show was that the hot couple was going to be Robyn and Kody, and that people were going to identify with Robyn. I think she was set up to be the hero of the show, and the OG3 were set up to be the heels of the show. But whoever did that and made that decision clearly doesn't understand human nature or relationships, especially any relationship that's lasted longer than 5 to 10 years. There's no way somebody's going to be in a relationship for 5 or 10 years and think, yeah, I could totally side with the younger woman who comes in and removes or usurps the first wife in that relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. There's
Who's gonna
nobody who would
root
say
for
that.
the mistress? Nobody roots for the mistress.
Right. Oh, she's pretty. She's a diesel Jean mom. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not helping. That actually hurts. If
Yeah.
she was like crazy hot, that actually hurts her case. If she's like this wonderful person that everybody can't help but fall in love with, maybe. But just being good looking and shallow is not enough. Like that's even worse. It's even worse. She comes in and she brings bills and kids. Like that. What are you talking about? To a family that's already struggling financially. She was set up. She was set up from the beginning. They did her no favors,
I agree.
you know. But so when they were at Mary's house and they were having the whole conversation, Kody's crying like a big baby, and I said it yesterday and I'll say it here. In my opinion, and let me know what you think. In my opinion, even if Kody was heartbroken, I don't understand why he was. I don't get it. But even if he was genuinely heartbroken about the situation, it would seem to me that if he had even the smallest iota of give a shit about Meri, he would have held his feelings to himself. And you cry in the car. You cry in the damn car. You don't cry in front of her because you know that any positive attention that you give her is just going to encourage her to hold on even more, which thereby is just going to damage her and hurt her in the long run because you have zero intention of being with her. It's at a point now where it's just cruel to watch. It's just cruelty. But let me know what you think. Like because
No,
that
I
part of it
100%
would be
agree. And I was
crazy.
so glad because literally I think Meri would have been like, turn this U-Haul around. Because Kody was like messing with her mind so much. And it was cruel. It was cruel.
Right.
And Kody, because Jen was right. What did she say? Like, oh, he's being nice now, like, but he's usually like an asshole, basically. And it's like,
Mm.
it would have been a lot easier, I think, had he have been acting like an asshole, but I don't know why. It definitely did not feel genuine to me. I did maybe maybe he was crying for what could have been or something, but the way he talks about his relationship with Meri, I don't believe that he longs for any of the good old days with her, because
Right.
he makes it seem like all of the days with her were horrible.
Yeah, everything was bad. It was all bad.
Like, he had to bring in Janelle right away to like mitigate life with Meri because Meri was so awful.
Hmm. Well, at least that's how he made it sound. You
Yeah.
know, if you talk to some people, they were saying that they couldn't keep their hands off each other. Even in the book, Janelle had said that Kody and Meri couldn't keep their hand. They were always clawing and pawing at each other. So that could be. I mean, in all fairness, that doesn't necessarily mean love. If we're going to be all the way honest,
Yeah.
because they were young, they were in a sexually repressed society.
Yeah.
You know, once you pop, it's hard to stop. So I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like,
True,
he
true.
might have had a whole lot going on at that point.
Yeah.
So, but there is a point too where, like, Meri had said something that was very revealing as well, because there's always kind of been this disagreement from some of the Meri fans, as well as like some of the other sister wife fandom, who have stated that Meri would definitely go back to Kody if given the opportunity. And the Meri fan, no, she would never go back. But Meri said something that I thought kind of settled that argument. Let me know whether it does or it doesn't. But
Okay.
Meri had said she was confused yet again. Like, the whole time, I'm so confused. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. And then she said, what have I done? I've been maybe I've done the wrong thing, you know. And Kody, and then Jen said she saw Kody, she revealed that during the time in Las Vegas, she saw that Kody did favor Robyn.
Mm-hmm.
And Meri said, well, I'm still in mourning, and like, because he so broke up. But if he just would have, and she went on, she just stopped short of, if he just would have asked me to come back or said he wanted to work it out or whatever the end statement was, I had the feeling that Meri had finally confirmed for the fans that if Kody would have given her a chance, she would definitely go back. What do you think about that?
I agree. Nothing about the ending of this relationship was something Meri wanted. This was all against Meri's will.
Right.
There's been no consent in this breakup from Meri. She's basically she got her release. She's released Kody. But yeah, 100%. If Kody said, if Kody produced another list for her, she would do it.
Right. And again, that's the part that bothers me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this for those who will always say that we're kind of bashing Meri and this, that, and other. It's not bashing Meri for this reason. I give Meri credit because even though, breakups happen to people all the time who don't necessarily want to be broke up with.
Yeah.
And when that happens, part of the challenge is always accepting your situation. It's not wanting the situation, happy with the situation. It's merely accepting what has happened and being able to move forward from that point. And that's where Meri is. So I want to give her a lot of credit just on that front.
Yeah. I had a relationship that ended that was pretty one-sided on his side. He broke up with me and I definitely didn't want the relationship to end. And that was very, very hard for me. And actually, well, I've been in therapy since I was 19. So I discussed this at length with my therapist. And essentially, my therapist at the time was like, well, you can't kidnap him. You can't
Right.
force anyone to be with you, like kind of, I'm like, but why? I don't want him to leave me. And it's It's like you will get, he told me, like, Sarah, you will get to the place that he's at. He is not going to get to the place where you are.
Right.
So
Yeah, it's just accepting your situation.
and
Accept
it's
it for what it is,
hard.
not what you want it to be.
It's
And that's what she's doing.
yeah.
And I give her credit for that. It's just hard to watch her because she could be pulled back in to Kody's snare. And what bothers, I think, a lot of folks who watch the show is the realization that her entire life and the trajectory of her life and her happiness is based on a whim of Kody and how he
Yeah.
feels at the time.
Yeah.
Because if he feels like he wants to pull Meri back in, just has a wild hair up his ass, and I ain't played with Meri in a little while, and he calls her up, he could have her drop everything where she is and try to come on back to work it out with him. So, that's, I think, what bothers a lot of people about it.
Yeah.
But let me hit some of these super chats real quick. We have Darlene Hall with the $2 super chat.
Thank you, Darlene.
She said exactly 100. I think we're talking about like some of the Kody stuff with Kody and
I'm 100% confident it was in reply to something you said, because whenever you speak, James, you get those 100s.
Well, it could go either way. I'm willing to share. I'm willing to share. Next we have Twinkle Toes 1985. I think it has to do with who isn't hosting the event on the that Kody is invited, because they also had another one. It was I think it's more about who is hosting the event or if Kody is invited. Yeah. And that's in regard to why Kody.
Yeah, because I really don't think Christine's inviting Kody and Robyn to her house. Like,
right.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very fair play. Because I thought about that, and I'm looking at it like, would I invite, if I was in Christine's situation and I had a breakup like Christine had, when I invite my ex, yeah, probably not. And to be honest with you, they would be crazy if they came.
Yeah.
Like if I was a Kody and I did a woman like that, I'm not going to her house. Never.
Yeah.
Nope. I'm not going to her house. I'm not eating her food. I'm not drinking nothing around her. And I'm damn sure not going to sleep around her. Like, it's just not happening. So I 100% agree with your sentiment. Twinkle Toes, 1985. Twinkle Toes. Next up, we have Michelle Woods with the $4.99 super chat.
Thank you.
Michelle Woods in the house. Did anyone notice when Meri was buried and Kody was smirking in between the tears? Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Once again, point taken, example made. Michelle, investigative. That's what I'm talking about.
You'll have to wake up pretty early in the morning to pull one over on this community, I tell you.
Right. They notice. They watch stuff. They notice stuff. Kody's standing there smirking one. He, like I said before, I think I said it last week, he angled himself to the camera so that he could be seen visibly crying about this situation, like he's actually fooling somebody that he's sad about Meri. It's that's the part that kind of chaps me a little bit when I think about the whole thing. We got one more from Michelle Woods, $9.99 super chat.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michelle. I'll admit, in the beginning, I had a bit of a crush on Robyn, but when I noticed her strange behavior, like letting Meri go back to college, that gave me pause. And I 100% agree. Robyn, if you gave her half a chance, the thing that I think turned some people off about Robyn, just in concert to what Michelle is saying, I think it's because Robyn knows how to present herself. We just see it because we see so much of what she's doing, but Robyn is the person at your job who knows what to say to your boss to kiss up. Don't do no freaking. I'm part of my French. I'm about to go long.
Oh, James, it's
that horse has probably left the
barn.
Yeah,
we're all good. We don't need to put on airs.
right. I'm trying to be proper, but doesn't do no work. Not a lick of work get done by them. But they always at the meetings talking that good shit to the boss. and they the first one smiling and giggling, first one with the congratulatory cake when the project is done. That's who Robyn is. And I
Yeah.
think that undercover low key, that's why so many people despise her, because she remind everybody knows that person.
Yeah. Well, and to bring it back to the Shit Talk pod, I think this was mentioned because they have a Facebook group too. I think this was mentioned in their Facebook group that Robyn's like superpower is that she hones in on people's emotions and she's able to emotionally adapt
Right.
to any situation. So she might not be like a rocket scientist, mathematician type smart, but she is like street smart in that way, and where she can emotionally manipulate a situation to her benefit and she can adapt and overcome in that way. And that is a skill. And
Right.
she has like mastered that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
Yeah.
I always said that with Robyn, she's she's an emotional mimic. Like,
Yes.
so she'll mirror you back, your energy. Like, if you go in and you're sad, she'll be sadder than you. If you're happy, she's happier than you. Like, so whatever energy you bring to the conversation with Robyn, she matches your energy, which is part of the reason why she never gives her opinion first. She'll never tell you what she thinks first. And she
Mhm.
always wants to hear what you have to say. I kind of, not to try to psychoanalyze anybody, but in my experience, when you have people who have like strong inclinations that way, it
Mm.
could be intellectual, could be natural, but a lot of folks who I've seen who have that ability come from homes or environments where they weren't exactly the healthiest situations.
Well, and
And it's more of a defense mechanism for them.
yeah. And you know what's so interesting to me? Because all of these adults, the parents,
Mhm.
well, except for Janelle, they grew
Right.
up in polygamy. They're all fucked up as far as relationships go
Right.
and how they handle relationships. But their kids
Are solid. Yeah.
are solid.
Right.
Like
Right.
these kids are all in long-term married. They're not like with a new person this each and every week. That is so interesting. It's like the exposure, right, to
Mhm.
the public world really showed them probably healthier relationship habits, because I think Robyn learned from what she learned and Kody's kids learned from a wider pool of people.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because I had a call yesterday. One of the callers who called in, again, fans or chat fans are tremendous resources. And they made the observation that one of the things that was a huge boon and a benefit for the kids was the fact that because of the show and because they moved from Utah to Vegas, it broke down a lot of the barriers. So they were able to come in contact with a lot of different folks from a lot of different backgrounds. And I think that gave them a strong head start on how to adapt better to situations. Like, they weren't as closed off as they were in Utah. And
Yeah.
so seeing a lot of the stuff that was going on with their parents and recognizing early on that this isn't what I want, and then being exposed to environments where you don't have to live like this, it gave them a bigger head start so that they can ensure that they don't become their parents.
Mhm.
So I agree. I 100% agree with what you're saying. Oh, we have one more, and then we go get back into the story. Thanks to everybody sending in super chats. We appreciate you. We appreciate your support. Uh Twilight Titiana. Hopefully I got that right. $5 super chat.
Thank
Uh,
you.
or is it £5? £5 from across the pond. Uh, he wasn't crying about Meri. He was crying because he no longer has control over the OG3 and their money to buy hideouts. Oh, I'm sorry. To buy hideous art for Big Rob. He's a sick some of my mama homo. So I agree. I think because if you listen to what he said, he was more upset about the family breaking down and people deciding not to be a part of the family and do this anymore. He
Right.
didn't say, Mary, when you left me, oh, we used to get along so good. I miss those times. That he didn't say none of that shit.
No.
So, yeah, I 100% agree.
Yep, I agree too.
So, but let me give you guys a little something. Thank you so much for your super chat and your support. Appreciate you. All right. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rosalind Davis said the big picture. He was crying about the big picture, which, as we've described before, the big picture in translation means Kody Brown. That's the big
Right.
picture. When he says the big picture, he's talking about himself.
Right.
I am the big picture.
Well, and what did we learn from this episode? Like, things are in one ear and out the other with Kody. That conversation about Stonehenge, like, talk about the cruelty of the whole like first scene with Meri and the crying and the mixed signals. But then it's like this dude does, and Christine and Janelle confirm this dude is not paying attention unless it's something about him.
Right. Which is, the what we're talking about for those who may not have seen the episode. There was a short clip of where Meri had taken a vacation to London, England, across the pond. And while she was over there, she went to, obviously she did the stuff like she saw Big Ben and Parliament and all that. But the Buckingham Palace,
Right.
but her dream, and I think the entire reason why she went was because she wanted to see Stonehenge.
Yes.
She had said that she saw a documentary like 20 years ago, 25 years ago, which number is very important because they had been married for 33 years by this point. So 25 years ago, she saw a documentary and she was determined that one day she was going to be at Stonehenge. She's at Stonehenge breaking down, crying because her dreams came true. What were your thoughts about like Meri crying and the emotional display that she was showing for being at Stonehenge, finally realizing places she wanted to be?
Well, it's so interesting because I think there's so many layers, I think, to Meri's emotions in this clip. On the surface, it's like, girl, why are you crying at a tourist attraction? But when you think about it and see, I have like so many layers because being from California, there's not a whole lot of historical like landmarks in California besides like the missions are like a big deal in California, but like my husband's from Boston. Like there's some historical shit obviously in Boston.
Right.
But when you take it on like a world scale of like history, and I'm a huge history nerd. I love history. I soak it up. I actually went to Ireland on my honeymoon. My favorite place we went was the Jameson distillery because the way that they do, and I don't even drink whiskey, and I was also pregnant at the time, but the way that they do their tour, it's a whole history of like Ireland during that time, and it's so fascinating.
Right.
But so Meri clearly connected with this thing, this it's a marvel, like a world marvel, because people not know how it, or they don't 100% know like how that came to be in those.
Yeah, it's one of the 7 wonders of the world.
Right. So like historically, polygamists in these communities don't travel outside of the country very often.
Right.
So on the one hand, just Meri getting out of the country is like, wow, a feat in and of itself. For her to get to one of these places that we just don't have stuff like that in the United States. Like, there's just, I mean, we have like Niagara Falls, we have the Grand Canyon, we have cool stuff to see, but like old ass shit like that is really cool. And it was so, it really was like a gut punch to me on behalf of Meri. Like, to see her clearly so excited about something, and Kody not even not realize that she was not excited about it, but he basically said that her being as excited about Stonehenge was lame. It's like, oh, there's like so much other cool stuff to see, Meri.
Right.
It was like, well, I wanted to see Stonehenge.
Well, it's the hateration. The oh, you got to go on vacation somewhere nice.
I can't afford a vacation because Robyn has me buying all this art. Mikkel said in a Patreon like a couple months ago that, you know, like as far as like budgeting goes and how can Robyn afford like all this stuff in her house, she's like, well, Robyn really doesn't travel. She doesn't go anywhere. And it's like, well, that's sad.
Right. That's terrible. Well, terrible business decisions.
Yeah.
Well, I think that because there was a point where they were talking about like Stonehenge, and it reminded me of a gentleman who I met. He worked at a job, him and his wife, and they've been married forever. And they were very excited because they were saving up for this dream trip that they both always wanted to go on, and it was going to be amazing, right? They were going to do like a whole European tour thing. And right before they were ready to leave, she got sick, like maybe 6 months out, she got sick, and then she passed away. But before she passed, she insisted that he go without her, right? And I saw him after he returned, and I talked to him. I was like, that was really exciting. It was great. But the one thing that bothered me about the trip, and this is what he was relaying to me, the one thing that bothered me about the trip is everything that I saw, I had to see alone. I couldn't share it with the person who I wanted to share it with. And the reason why I pointed out the whole 25-year thing, this was during the course, her fascination with Stonehenge started after her and Kody were married. When she started dreaming of going to Stonehenge 25 years ago to present, every time she thought of going, that was a trip that she was going to share with her husband. And that was going to be something between the two of them, something special between the two of them. And the realization that she was alone doing this thing is one of the things that I think bothered her. But to add insult to injury on top of that is him saying that I didn't give a shit when you were telling me about it. I don't care that you went now. There are other things that you could have done while you were there. So it's, that like your heart broke because he wasn't there, only to realize that he doesn't even care that you went, and much less care about actually going with you. So I think that was like a realization when she was at the table and she was talking to Kody about the trip. I think that was a secondary realization and the second heartbreak that she suffered because of it.
Yeah, it's the things that were important to you were never important to him.
Right. You know what? And I'm gonna say this off the rip. I am so tired of every time Kody is ready to fix his mouth to say something stupid or ignorant. He always couches it in, this is what men think, and it's because I'm a man.
That's offensive to you, right, James?
That annoys the shit out of me. I can't believe, dude, first of all, if I said this last night, if anything, my wife wishes I didn't listen to her as well as I do, because then I wouldn't catch her and stuff. You know what I mean? Hey, what?
I think my husband probably feels the same way.
Right. I wish I didn't listen.
Yeah.
But if you care about somebody, I bet you, because even with him saying that, I bet you there's stuff that Robyn says that she wish she could do or wish she could have done or wanted for Christmas. And you remember that whole laundry list of her stuff. You remember what you want to remember.
Yeah.
Just say you didn't give a damn about them and what they were talking about.
Mm,
Don't couch it in you because you're a man and this is what men do. That has nothing to do with it.
mhm.
Nothing at all. You know.
Because on behalf of like men, I know many men that would retain, like, if things that are important to me, that make me happy, that kind of like, just I'll get a tickle out of. My husband knows that
Right.
about me, and like you with your wife, and
Right. You pay attention.
it's
That's what you do.
offensive to
When
like
you have a
chalk that up
partner,
to
you
just
pay
being a
attention.
man. Yeah.
Oh, what she likes roses. You bring her home tulips. Yeah.
He would
She's
have showed up, so
allergic to stuff.
clearly
I'm
Savannah's
allergic to dogs.
graduation party was sunflower themed because Savannah likes sunflowers. Like, he would have showed up with like tulips to
Right,
Savannah.
right.
Like, oh,
This is
I
your
thought this
favorite
was just
flower, right?
flower themed. What?
Or well, knowing him, he probably would have brought a plant that he either dug up out the front yard or something he found in the trash.
A piece of stump from Coyote Pass.
Right, right. And
Yeah.
then he would have said, men don't really do stuff like this.
Yeah.
So it's okay. We don't really think about frilly things. Um, but yeah, so we talked about like the whole trip thing. We talked about the time at the house. Let's talk a little bit about this whole thing with Coyote Pass. The first part of Coyote Pass that we could talk about is Janelle sitting there talking with Caleb and Maddie. And
Mm.
she revealed to Caleb and Maddie that she was going to have to fight to bring the subdivision to fruition. So, send Kody the money, fight to bring the subdivision to fruition, and then try to figure out so they could divide it up into 4 parts and she could sell her part and get her money, hopefully.
Mhm.
Then, of course, uh, she told Maddie this, and the look on Maddie's face when Janelle was saying that she was going to send Kody even more money and she was only going to get a fourth of the property. What did you think about that? Because I know what Maddie's ass was thinking.
Yeah, and I don't know. Do you listen to Maddie's podcast or watch it on YouTube?
Yeah, I've done a review on the second one, I think.
Okay. So, Maddie, it's interesting. I think that Maddie is clearly she's grown up well, right?
Right.
But sometimes I get the sense that Maddie thinks that she knows more than she knows. Because just I think I'm like probably 7 or 8 years older than Maddie. I probably thought I knew it all too when I was like 30. And now I realize I don't know shit. But so it is what it is. I think it comes with age. But with Maddie, I think that it's so frustrating for her to have witnessed her mom her whole life, and she's so close to like kind of just doing what you need her to do, doing what you want her to do. And she's talking about dumping money back into Madison. It's really interesting to me. I almost feel like she hates Kody. I don't know. Like, the blood is bad.
Right.
She has her kids calling Christine's husband grandpa, right? Like,
right. Yeah. And
this
won't
dude
call
that
Kody
Christine
anything.
tells us every week she's known for 5 minutes. Madison is allowing her kids to call this dude grandpa.
Right.
Okay.
It's fast. You don't
want your dad anywhere around your kids. But Christine's husband gets to be Grandpa David.
No, and you have to correct them too. It was Grandpa Dave. No, it's David.
Yeah.
So we did have a super chat regarding that. As from Felicia Marie said, $5 super chat.
Thank you.
What are y'all thoughts on Maddie letting her kids call David Grandpa David? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, so it's interesting. My grandma got remarried when I was like 7 or 8 years old. And I don't think I called my step grandfather grandpa until it was a while. My
Mm,
kids call him Papa Dwayne, but I always call him Dwayne. Like, I don't
right,
know. So it's interesting to me. I think, I guess it's just situational. I don't consider him any less of a grandfather. I just, I don't know. It's weird. So these kids are babies, so they're going to grow up thinking that David is a grandfather, you know?
right,
So I
right.
guess it's not weird. Um, but what is weird is that Madison wants to protect her kids from Kody. So, like,
Right,
Kody bad in Madison's world. But
right,
she doesn't, at this point, she doesn't know David. How can she know that David's good, right?
right. Well, it's kind of sad though, because she's protecting her kids from Cody because Cody is so unstable as far as like how he does things. He's he's unpredictable. But she's essentially saying that this stranger is more consistent than her father is. You know what I mean? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, that's insane. But as far as like the grandfather thing, uh, I don't know. Like, I'm not a big fan of rushing into calling people familial names like brother, sister, uncle, auntie, uh,
Yeah.
grandpa, grandma. I'm not a big fan of that. Rushing into it. If they've established themselves and they're going to be in the child's life in a permanent situation, or they marry into the family, then indeed they are part of that cycle. I hold that difference. I say all that to say this. I hold that a little differently than I do calling somebody mom or dad.
True.
You know what I mean? Because mom, dad, that's very,
Mhm.
specific, unique. You know,
And
mom, pop, pop.
fast forward to Christine's wedding special, which, because we did this out of order. Madison's crying that she just
Yeah,
loves David so much. So clearly there's a connection that maybe we're not seeing.
right.
Um
Well,
that
just being
that
around them.
Madison is okay with this.
Right. Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, just
Yeah,
being around them. Like,
yeah.
I'm looking at it when I criticize Christine for the rapidity in which she's getting married, how quickly she's getting married.
Yeah.
It's from a general perspective. I'm looking at it as a general rule. I'm not like, David could be the shot. He could be the short shot. They could be have tremendous love for each other. He could be the most solid dude ever. She sees it, recognizes it, and she goes for it. It is what it is. I'm just saying, as a general rule, this is not a good idea. That's the position I had. But when it comes down to it, if he's already talking about they're engaged to be married, there's no real sign that they're not going to get married. So at that point, he's technically going to be their grandfather because he's
Yeah.
marrying the grandma.
And
You-
honestly, it's more if he's the more family, the merrier for
Right,
people who want to be a part of my kid's life. That's my personal philosophy. I'm never going to gatekeep family members that want to be part of my kid's life. So if you come from this family where you have a bunch of moms and it's kind of a unique family structure, and your pseudo mom gets a new husband, if he's gonna be like a grandpa to your kids, like, why not?
right, right. And that's what I mean. Like, he's marrying into the family. So it's like,
Yeah,
if you have an aunt and she marries a dude, and say you haven't seen your aunt for years, and she marries somebody, and then they show up at the next holiday, they show up for Christmas. That's Uncle Tom. You know what I mean? Whether you know him or not, he's your uncle because
yeah.
he married into that's your uncle. So
And
I
it's
think that
like,
that's kind of where
Janelle
that's along the
going
same lines.
yeah, is Janelle gonna get remarried? Janelle really like it. That's not on Janelle's radar. That's not to say she never will, but it's not a priority for her the way that clearly moving on
Yeah,
was a priority for Christine. So I think Madison looks at it too, like, okay, we have Caleb's dad, and then there's David. So far,
right,
those are the two grandparent figures in her kids' lives, or
right. Well, plus,
grandfather figures, I should say.
well, I mean, because you also have to figure too that technically Janelle's a grandmom. As far as
Right.
I know, Mary's a grandmom.
Yeah.
Christine's a grandmom. So you have a lot of grandparents already. So it's not, you know what I mean? So again, it's not a closely knit, closely held
Mhm.
position
Right, right.
in that family. So yeah, I mean that's kind of where I'm at. Like
Yeah.
I said, mom, dad, I'm a lot more protective of.
Yes.
Grandparents,
If
I'm not a big
Truly comes
fan.
out here calling David dad, I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm gonna be like,
Yeah, yeah.
this we've
What?
totally ah."
Yeah, right. What? But
Yeah.
thank you so much for the super chat, Felicia.
Yeah,
For
thank you,
real.
Felicia.
And let's run through some more. Darlene Hall with the $2 super chat. Hell to the no. And 100 to both of you. I agree. So okay,
Thank
so for
you.
both of us, thank you so much, Darlene. Appreciate you. Uh Michelle Woods back in the house with the 499 super chat. Off topic. James, love you. Love that your mic matches your shirt. Hello. Coordinate. Love burgundy or off red colors. Was that by accident or on purpose? This was actually on purpose, but the mic, I was like, oh, that's unique. So I just got the mic in the
I was
red
gonna
because
say,
my other
James,
mic was
you
hurt.
look good in red too.
Oh, thank you.
It
Thank you
makes
so much.
you pop. You
Yeah,
pop.
pop off the screen.
Yeah.
It helps to cut down on the craziness on the feedback too. But thank you so much. I appreciate that, Michelle. Thank you for your awesomeness. Uh Darlene Hall with this $5 super chat. I bet Kody used to walk around the house singing, "Oh, I just can't wait to be king." Roll the floor like my
The way I sang that song when I was like in elementary school, the Lion King soundtrack slaps. It really does.
Yeah, yeah. But you know the ironic part of that? The only way that Simba could become king was to knock off his family.
Yeah.
So, like, it's kind of ironic. I mean, I think that actually holds a lot more credence, than just the surface thing. Because
Yeah.
technically, the only way Cody could be king was to knock off the rest of his family.
Yeah.
So,
He's
yeah,
a king and with a kingdom of none.
right, right. He's hurt. He's hurt. He's the man in black. Sarah, oh my goodness. Okay, Sarah, the domestic goddess, $10 super chat. What? My son's always called my stepdad, whom I wasn't till I was an adult, Grandpa Mark. He sadly passed away 1 month after I lost my 14-year-old. To wow. Okay,
I'm
so
so
Felicia,
sorry, Sarah.
he was always great with my boys and loved them so much. Wow, I'm so sorry for your loss. That's rough. That's rough
I'm
as
so
hell.
sorry, Sarah.
Yeah, that's terrible.
And thank you for obviously being open and sharing with us, because that is incredibly brave. And also because I've noticed you contributing to the discussion about Garrison, and I think you shed some unfortunate insight that nobody wants to be on that side of knowing what that feels like. But thank you for being brave enough to enlighten us.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Share your experience, and
Yes.
that's one of the not to get too dark, not to pull down too much, but that's one of the it's the surprise thing sometimes when you have the loss of people and you're dealing with that loss. Like, because as we were watching the episode and we commented earlier, like you'll be watching something or doing something, and then you'll be reminded of that person in a glimpse of something where you weren't expecting it. And I think that in some cases that could be the most painful part of that memory recognition. That like just you're not expecting to see him, and then there he is. You know,
Mhm.
where
Mhm.
you're not bracing yourself, you're not braced. to think about it or prepare yourself to think about it or deal with it. So,
Yep.
but yeah, thank you so much for the
Thank
super
you,
chat. An excellent
Sarah.
point. And again, that like she mentioned with the son always called her stepdad, who wasn't a stepdad until she was an adult. Uh, Grandpa Mark. Again, once they marry into the family, it's kind of the position that they feel because that's the role that they have.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's why I'm not really going crazy with the fact that especially the kids are calling him Grandpa David. If Cody's kids are calling him Dad, that's different. Like that's serious. But yeah, I 100% agree. Let me give you
Mhm.
guys a little something, something. Thank you guys so much for the super chats. I appreciate the support.
And
Awesome.
say my step grandfather is the only grandpa I have left at the moment. So
Oh, okay.
he's 94 years old and he is cooking right along. He's rocking
Still
it.
rocking.
Yeah, both of my bio grandfathers have sadly passed, but I still have him, so I'm glad to
Right.
have a bonus grandpa.
Well, and that's the thing too, is that like you said, when you have additional people who are showing your kids love, time, attention, and affection,
Yeah,
then that's good too. It's always a good thing. More love is never a bad thing. Like
yeah,
nobody's ever said I was loved too much. I was hugged and
exactly right,
kissed too much as a
right,
child. When I
right.
was a child, they all loved me. Like that has never been a thing that was discussed heavily in a therapy class or
It's
therapy.
funny because I'm not like a super touchy-feely person. So like physical touch is not my love language. And even I would never be like, too much love.
They just give me all the love.
Like,
Can't stand it. So yeah, it's a positive thing. I'm that doesn't creep me out. Uh yeah. I don't know. I'm just very protective of children, like having kids around people I don't know and just exposing kids too fast. That's all. But
yeah,
not everybody's got that same thing.
yeah.
It's all situational.
Mhm.
But we get back to we talked about Maddie and Janelle and her not necessarily trusting Kody. There was a point where Janelle had expressed that she wasn't necessarily, even though she was fighting Kody and pushing on Kody, she did kind of throw the flag in a little bit. I felt like she threw the flag in a little bit,
Mhm.
where she wasn't saying like, "I don't give a damn. I'm getting what I got. I'm getting mine out of this." Like, and I think that that's where Maddie was looking surprised when she said basically, "I'm going to send them a check," and Maddie had to look like, "Why are you sending them a check? You still have money in the McMansion, and you're paid into the land.
Mm.
Like, if anything, they should be sending you money back. Like, what are we doing?
Maddie
Send them more money."
Yeah, Maddie wants to get down and dirty and go get into the mud and fight it out, right? And
Right.
Janelle is like wanting to keep it. Janelle is wanting to tiptoe around Cody's ego just a little while longer. But it is interesting how Maddie is like, she is so over Cody, and she the faster it seems like the faster Maddie rids Cody of like even her people in her orbit, the better. Like as
Right.
soon as she can get her mom to shake off the last remnants of him, the better it will be honestly, I think for Maddie's relationship with her mom, because I think it's incredibly frustrating for Janelle's kids to witness Janelle kind of have or let Cody have hooks in her.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, and I think it's tough too because one of the things that I always stress when I think about the kids, especially Janelle's kids, is that 401k time,
Mhm.
working additional hours to support the family, so thereby denying these kids access to their mom. A lot of the sacrifices that Janelle made, she didn't make alone. her kids also made those sacrifices. And
Yeah.
so for them to watch Janelle continually make these sacrifices and even historically make these sacrifices and still walk away from this relationship feeling like she won't have anything. I think that that is a main driver of these kids wanting to get their pound of flesh out of
Mhm.
Kody and out of the relationship. They want their full money. They want their mom to have their full accounting of what she's owed,
Yep.
and I don't blame them for that.
No, I don't either. What is really interesting to me and something that I took note of is that Janelle just wires her money, right? Like she just sends it directly to the agency or whatever. But Meri has to drive her check in.
Right, right. Well, you know what? I thought about that, and here's a crazy thing because I thought about it too. I was like, hey, Janelle doesn't even want to be in a room with him. But
Yeah.
I thought about it. I was like, maybe Kody and Robyn don't want to be in a room with Janelle.
Oh, I fully believe that, but I just love how it was possible. Like clearly it was not necessary for Meri to be there. She could have, I mean, Western Union has been around for a long time.
All right,
She could have just Zelled them or whatever. I know it was probably more than like $500, but she could have figured out a way to remotely send the money, but she chose to drive from Parowan down to Flagstaff. I think that's like a 10-hour drive or something
right,
to
right.
physically hand them a check. I just chuckled at that.
Well, you know, because the weird part about it is I see her doing that, but the weird part is that when she shows up, I had the feeling like she wanted to continue the whole experience she was having with Kody.
Oh, kind of thinking, oh, to play off of he just moved me. I don't know in relation to when this conversation took place after the move to Parowan, but yeah, good point.
Yeah, like it's just oh, because she kind of came in with that same energy where she was like, "Oh, we're going to joke around some more," and then Cody's like, "Nah, nah,
Stonehenge is lame.
I'm done playing with you."
You
Yeah,
cried at Stonehenge? What a nerd.
yeah, right. Why would you want to go to Stonehenge?
Yeah.
Let me call my thing back up. I just got
They don't have David Yurman at Stonehenge.
yeah, right. Let me drop this one. Okay, hold on a second. I have to. There we go. I think that's better. Keep. Do I sound weird?
No, you sound normal.
Okay. I thought
At
I was
least to
getting
me anyway.
yeah, if I sound weird, let me know, guys, because I have some crazy stuff happening on my screen. Oh, so they get to the house. Meri comes in, they do the whole Stonehenge vacation stuff, and then they start talking about Coyote Pass. And one of the things that has bothered me about Coyote Pass this entire damn time is the fact that they are cutting a new check for them to get County Pass divided,
Mhm.
right? I already paid you. You need to come up with your share of the money. Then Robyn and Kody did the whole thing where, oh, well, we don't know how the names got put on the land the way it did. I don't know. Kody just went down and did it because he had to put some names in. He was filling in boxes. Uh, but I pulled up the division or the County Pass location.
Okay.
Take a look at it. And
Yeah.
this is what Coyote Pass looks like now, after it's been paid off. So you have Cody and Janelle. Next to that, Cody and Robyn. Next to that, part of the land where Janelle's land is supposed to be. You have Cody, Janelle, Meri. Then you have Cody and Robyn on that big ass parcel of land. Yay, yay!
Mhm.
And that whole thing again just bothers me. It bothers me that they did that the way they did. And they never said anything. And even if you're going to write that next check, there is an old saying, don't throw good money after bad. If I'm going to have you, if I'm going to, we're going to pay this land off so we don't lose it. But when I pay this off, what we're going to do immediately is we're going to put everybody's name on every piece of this property until we divide it. And otherwise, I'm not giving you a nickel. I'm
Yeah,
not giving
why
you
is
one more
Robyn
penny.
acting like paying off the land like solved anything? Like
Right.
that was the like barrier to freedom to be able to do anything. Kody, there was no contingency in the mortgage that you couldn't do anything on the land till it was paid off. The only contingency that I know of was that if you don't pay it off, we can take everything back.
Right.
Which, I mean, I know that this is kind of like a unique contingency because I think it was like a private financing thing. But like, if I don't pay my mortgage, they're going to come take my house back. So I don't know. Like,
Well, because the way they did it, the insane part is that it was 4 independent parcels. So they could have
yeah.
purchased the 4 parcels separately. Actually, I do have the original.
Oh, so what it was is they did have some of the parcels paid off, and I think that they could have taken those.
Right.
Okay.
So,
All right. I get it
yeah,
now. Because I'm like, I don't like that's just how loans work. Like if
right,
I don't pay for my
exactly. Like,
car,
what do
there's
you mean? What
Operation Repo was one of my favorite shows back in the day. Like,
yeah, well, I mean, the way they presented it on this show, that's a fair criticism because the way they presented it on this show, yeah, they have this crazy idea that if we don't pay it,
it's like,
they
isn't
can
that just how
somehow come and
loans
take
work?
it. Like, that don't really happen. Like, that's how they do it. Yeah, absolutely. But it was the contingency was that they weren't just gonna buy 1 or 2 parcels of the property. They had to buy it was either all or nothing.
Yeah. Okay.
The
I
way he
get
was
it
selling.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he wasn't trying to subdivide it at all. He was selling it as, "This is my land. I have 4 independent parcels. I already separated them, but I'm only selling it as one big sale." And
Mm.
that's how they got screwed. But the insane part is that technically if you look at the current property, they were only going to buy the 2 places, the one where Kody and Robyn were and Kody, Janelle, Meri. It was only gonna be those 2 parcels, and they later went back and added last year as an addition. So the guy was only gonna sell him the 2 properties, the 2 parcels, the one with the pond, the coyote poop pond, the prairie dog pond, and the one next to it. Those were the only 2 he was selling them originally. And then the family got crazy and decided they wanted to get the additional land because
Mhm.
Kody wanted to have rental properties. But that was insane. That was
Focus
an
on
insane.
building yourself a house first.
Right, right.
When Robyn said that that the plan was to like recreate the cul-de-sac, I'm like, you guys could never like manage the building of an entire cul-de-sac. Like,
Right, right. I mean, who the hell like, you know how hard it is if the land is developed for you
mhm.
to build a home. That's one thing, and that's a monumental thing. To have a new built home is a big deal. But for you to basically to say, "I'm gonna go out, buy some land in a state that I'm not from, and I'm gonna build an entire neighborhood," because essentially that's what he was talking about doing. He wanted to build a neighborhood. He wanted to build a development. Like, you're not a developer. It's so much money to do that. You have to have
And
so much
just like
experience.
you could tell I like because David, I always forget what he does, but I know he does something with like houses, right?
Mhm.
Is he
Drywall,
like a drywall?
drywall
Okay.
for
Yeah,
construction,
like
yeah.
when they were looking at houses, he pointed out stuff that I would never think to like think of when looking at a house to buy. So yeah, it's like when you aren't in the industry of like developing and home building and construction and stuff, like you just have no idea. You don't know what you don't know.
Right. Right.
So
And that's the whole thing. Like, and especially when it comes to like if you do like local politics, national politics is a mess. Local politics is dirty business.
mm.
It's dirty work. And when you're talking about developing, you have to go through zoning processes.
Oh yeah.
You have so much stuff to do, and technically, it really helps if you know people. It just does. Like,
Yeah.
you have to be able to go down to your board of commissioners, your supervisors, your town, council people, whatever you have, and you have to start presenting plans to them on top of plans, on top of plans. You have to get approvals and waivers and zoning permissions, and by the time you get done, it's if you're entering into a state, a neighborhood you're not familiar with, it's gonna cost you so much money because you have to hire attorneys and architects and everything. Like, Cody has no idea.
Mhm.
And the crazy part is I'm listening to him talk to Robyn and Meri about the plans on what he plans to do on Coyote Pass. It's clear this dude has no idea what he's talking about.
Mhm.
Like, you have no idea, and you're just making stuff up. Speaking of which, what did you think when he started talking about well, first he's talking about Meri going bringing up Janelle. I want I won't describe it.
Well,
Never did. What did you think about that?
so I saw the preview of Meri going over. And so I posted the preview in my Facebook group and I was like, oh my God, like I was so nervous that Meri went over to tattle. But I'm so glad, like, but I think she's just trying to make sure she's not getting screwed. But she did tattle. Like,
Right.
uh
Yeah, it was crazy.
I'm
I
like,
felt like it was so bad that she was like, just so you know, this is what Janelle had to say. I'm like, why are you telling them?
oh, and Robyn was like, oh, why would Janelle
What do you
think
mean?
that?
Protect yourself from us?
Yeah. We're
Say
the
little
ones getting
kid shit.
knifed in the
All you
kidneys
did
around
was
here.
protect you from us. You kid. Yeah, you better protect yourself. She's like,
Yeah.
like, I didn't get that. There was a point where, on one hand, you can make the argument that, Meri was trying to tell Kody because she doesn't necessarily trust Janelle either. So she was trying to tell Kody and Robyn just
Mhm.
so she doesn't get screwed over because she is in a weak position, technically.
Uh-huh.
But at the same time, you don't have to give them all your information, and you damn sure don't have to give up your sources.
Right.
I mean, because the ironic part is Cody and Robyn aren't being completely forthright and honest with you. So why are you telling them all your business and all the plans? You know what I mean?
Yep.
But during that conversation, when Cody was talking about it, he said, "Oh well, I talked to Janelle about it, and I offered her to go down and get an assessment, get an assessor to come down and assess the land for, or because we have the trees." And she said it's okay that we just have the trees, so that's how we're going to move forward. At which time Meri said, "Well, I think you should do what an assessor, like an assessment on land." And Cody had a hard pause when she
Yeah.
said that and started giving pushback. What do you mean? Why would you want to do that? Well, you don't trust me. So what
I
did you
don't know
think
if there
about like
are any
Cody giving
appraisers in
a call out?
Flagstaff. How would we ever find one?
Right, right. Well, we could use the one you offered to Janelle, right?
Right.
But did you find that like and this was it was at this moment that it should have been crystal clear that he was trying to screw you over. If Mary was
Right.
actually paying attention to what Kody was saying, Kody and Robyn was saying, this is the moment where you recognize that he's trying to screw you over. This is the equivalent of you going into a car dealership, you looking at a used car, and the guy saying, "This car is pre-certified, is qualified, is certified, and it's everything. This car is amazing." You don't have to. I mean, you can send it to your mechanic. The car is already pre-certified, and we already do like 1,000 checks on it. It's great. And you say, "Okay, I'd like to send it to the account to my mechanic." Well, I mean, where would we even find a mechanic? Somebody who works knows about cars.
Yeah.
I don't, the gas station down the street, you can start there. Like that's when you're getting ripped off. You know, when the guy absolutely refuses to let the car go to a mechanic so they can actually put it up on the lift and look at it. You're getting screwed over. When he
Show me the
says that
Carfax.
yeah, yeah. When he says he doesn't want the land surveyed at all, he does he's ripping you off.
Yeah.
And he said, and I just wanted to point out that he was talking about the land being worth more money because it has trees on it. You remember when he said that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But what has he been doing since season 16? He's been on that land cutting down trees left and right. He's been cutting down trees. So how the hell, like if you're stripping out the very thing that's supposed to make my land worth any money, how is it worth more money now? Because you're knocking down trees every time you go out there. You knock a damn tree down.
Yeah.
And I think that that's actually a business that he's running. Like, I think they're stripping those trees out of that lane, and he's selling wood.
Oh.
I think he's selling lumber off the property.
Now is that because I know in California, like you can't just if you own a piece of property that has like a lot of trees, I don't think you can just like chop them down. Like
Mm.
I think you have to get like permits and stuff. So I wonder if he has to get in Arizona. I don't know, but
I don't know. I don't know,
yeah,
but I do know, like, 'cause I remember when, he was out talking to Gabriel and Garrison, Big G's, and they were standing out there talking about him not coming around to the family.
yeah,
Remember, he was out there shucking the trees, and then they were trying to stack the trees up, and that's what they were working on when they were
yeah.
out there on Coyote Pass. He's been consistently working on them trees out there on that lane. And so if you're saying that my land is worth more money because it has trees on it, and you've been consistently knocking down trees on my land, how much is my land actually worth? And if you look at a lot of that land where the trees are, all that shit is, oh, pardon my French, all that shit is rocks. Like it's all rock. So I don't know how you would build a house on that unless you started going in there knocking the rocks back, which would be even more money as far as development. Because now
Honestly,
you're not only doing the utilities, but you have to receive the rocks back.
yeah,
So
the fairest thing to do, which obviously they won't do, and like we're now a year and a half past this point of them paying off the land. So like this is just sat. There has been no movement. The fairest thing to do would be to sell the parcels and divide the money.
right, right,
But because yeah, like okay, is this parcel worth more than that because of trees and blah 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 and this view or whatever and what I can do here or what's hampering me over here? Like then that's going to be what the fight's going to be about.
right, right. And my thing is, like I said, I would have taken a hard stance. I wish they would have done it earlier, when they initially put in for the land, and Kody came back with the makeup of the lot with the names on the lot. Well, how did you decide this? Oh, well, I just had to put names in. Okay, well, we're going to go back down and we're going to amend this because we're going to put everybody's name on everything.
Mm.
Because this is what we're doing, right? As a family, we're going to decide that once the land is paid off, how we're going to subdivide the land to give everybody the fairest division of the land. But in order for us to be able to do that, I have to feel like I have an equal stake in whatever property we're dividing. And in
Right.
And even if they did that, it said, okay, well, forget it. We want to sell the land now. If everybody's name is on the land, you sell the entire block, all 4 lots, all 4 parcels, and you just divide it by 4, and then everybody gets their cut and they leave. Technically, this is still me being crazy generous because if I was Meri and I was Janelle, I would say, well, when we get our big pile of money, we're going to take out the money we put into the McMansion first. Then we're going to start dividing.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I'm getting my initial deposit on your house. I'm getting that back. And then whatever's left, we're going to divide that by 4.
Yeah.
And we'll just move that way. But they're being crazy generous. And the ironic part is Kody did say something during the course of this that I wanted to bring up. He said that there's a point where he was thinking about screwing over Janelle, but the only reason he won't do it is because of his kind-hearted spouse, Robyn. The fact that he would admit that lets me know exactly what you're working with.
Yep.
You're admitting too much. You're admitting too damn much. Did you have anything to say about that? Because I only have one more point after that.
No, I mean, Cody's really being like totally shown to be a fool. And I love it. I am like living for these episodes. It's kind of the way I felt watching this episode was like, have you ever, like when you were growing up, gone to like your friend's house and like you could tell like maybe their parents were fighting, but they were trying to like put on airs around you to like, oh, everything's like all good. But you could tell like, I don't really think so. I feel like the last like 18 seasons has been that of Sister Wives. Like, we know like shit hasn't been all that great, but like the family was trying to fake the funk. But now they're not trying to fake it at all. And now it's like everything's coming out. Like, and it's like, oh.
You about to get divorced.
Yeah.
Like, it's not good. You about to get divorced.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just such a mess. And the one thing that I will say, because I know some people get tired of Coyote Pass, but the whole message that I get from Coyote Pass, and it's just a reminder even to me, is that when you deal with family and friends, you always want to have things nailed down in a contract and an agreement so that everybody knows from the beginning who gets what, kicked in what, who's responsible for what, and if the relationship or the business dissolves or whatever the case may be, it goes away, bankrupt, and we sell something off, we all know what we're getting out of the business. There's no question about it. And I think that's the biggest problem that they have. There was way too much trust in the family ties, the relationships, and everything else. And they trusted in Kody, and they allowed him to make moves that put them in terrible, terrible positions. Like they're just in terrible positions. Because even if they get a lawyer, like my biggest thing is just having a lawyer doesn't mean you automatically have a case, and it certainly doesn't mean that you're going to win.
Right.
You know, and in some cases you have to take steps to protect yourself. And unfortunately, the way that this whole thing has been going, you know, I'm saying that maybe Janelle and Meri are being too kind. The reality of it is maybe they're just trying to get out of it what they can because they don't have the ability to get anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that bothers me. That just annoys the hell out of me.
Yeah.
But last thing I wanted to talk about, let me just do these last 2 super chats so we get the last thing and then we can wrap him up. But Laura Boudrant,
Thank you so
Von
much.
Grant, 499 super chat. I think I butchered the name and I apologize. I deeply do. When I married my husband, I had no kids, therefore no grandkids. I wanted so badly for his kids to call me Mimi, but their mom said no. I was heartbroken.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
a
just
bummer. It should honestly, like, it should be up to the kids. Like, I disagree with Robyn, like, forcing her kids to call Kody dad. Like, it should have been their decision. But yeah, like, Again, nobody should
Yeah.
gatekeep. And I'm sure I hope that didn't affect like being an actual grandparent to them, but it's unfortunate.
Right. Well, I mean, again, my whole thing is that there's a difference between parents, like mom, dad, and grandparents. Like you can marry into being a grandparent. You can
Yeah.
marry into being an uncle, aunt, thing of that. A cousin. You know what I mean? Somebody marries your cousin, that's your cousin.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because put it where it is. It'd be weird if you started dating the person who was dating your mom, your grandmom, or you know what I mean? Like, oh, your
Yeah.
family
Yeah.
at that point, your family. So yeah, you mean me. Don't worry about it. Uh, Tanya Smith, $5 super chat. I live a couple hours away from Coyote Pass. There is new construction from nothing here often. Okay, okay. They'll
Oh.
find a buyer to develop it. Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, I can see, and again, I think that I agree. Thank you for your super chat. I agree that if they found somebody who is willing to come in and buy, and then they are developers and they have the facility to do it, I think it could be done. Like, I'm not saying it can't be done. I just don't think that Kody and Robyn and the sister wives are equipped to do it. No shot on them. It's just that's a big thing. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Tiffany Covington, uh, yeah, $5 super chat. I
Thank
bet Kody
you.
and Robyn used County Pass as collateral on that $2 million house. Yes, I absolutely agree with that.
Oh.
I 100%
Ooh.
agree with that because they would have to put that down as part of their asset and their balance, especially because they pay the property off and Cody's name appears on all parcels of that property. That is an asset that he could use from that point forward to leverage so that he can get loans. So,
Mm.
because it's part of his portfolio. So absolutely. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yes, yes. And the ironic part is anywhere Cody's name appears, Robyn's name also appears because they're married. And this was acquired with marital funds after they were married or after their holy matrimony or civil union. So yeah, she owns his name is on all four parcels, and by default, her name is also on all four parcels. Because
Right.
if he owns it, she owns it. You title the entirety. So yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree. Let me give you a little something, and then we'll just get to this last part. All right, so the last thing I guess we'll talk about is the man trip where Kody went away with his brothers. Cody's brothers met him not in Utah, not in Arizona where he lived, but they decided they're gonna go to Vegas, and
Yeah.
all they're gonna do is sit around and what were they gonna do?
They were gonna cuss a little.
Yeah, they were gonna cuss a little. They weren't gambling, and they
No,
weren't
they
going to
weren't
drink.
it wasn't gonna be debauchery.
Right, right. Of course, they're not going to go down and see the showgirls
No.
because they wouldn't do that because they're manly men and they're just going to
Right,
sit
right.
around and curse. So yeah, not believing that. Anyway,
It
so
seemed
they
like a rip-roaring good time.
right the saddest man trip ever. They might
There's
as well just
a
have collect
vast
the milk.
age difference between these Scott seems significantly older than I forget what his younger brother's name was, but there seems to be a big age span.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yes. Sisters in the middle of them. Like
Yeah, there I think isn't he like one of 10 or something
yeah,
like that?
like that.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like
so
9 or 10.
something like that, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. They're definitely close to double digits. So the big family, big family.
And
But
Scott is the father of Ben Brown, who does the TikToks, who I've interviewed.
right.
So that's his dad who
Oh,
yeah.
okay, okay. Yeah, that
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, mm, okay. Well, all
And
right.
Scott is
All right.
still living polygamy, still very much part of the AUB. So
Yeah,
it's interesting that we see Cody is basically like denouncing polygamy in this. episode, but then he's going to hang out on camera with his brother Scott, who's like totally still in the AUB.
Right. Well, his younger brother's supposed to be out of it too.
Yeah.
So, and not a polygamist. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a little weird too because the relationship that they have between Nathan and the brothers, it's a weird place to be on screen with Kody because most of it is just him talking to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he just gives his perspective and he doesn't really look for input from you. What do you guys think? It's like, this is what I'm doing, blah, 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 diarrhea of the mouth.
Well, it's interesting that he would talk to his brother Scott, who's a polygamist, about how he's excited to like grow old with just Robyn.
Right. Yeah, I'm a monogamous now.
Yeah.
What did you think about when they were looking through the gate? Because when they go back, when they get to Vegas, apparently the big thing Kody wants to do is go back to the cul-de-sac so he can see the place where he used to be. And he's standing there looking through the gate at the houses, and he's talking about and reminiscing about how much he missed being there and how this was the most perfect setting, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What were your first thoughts about that?
I thought, well, it was weird because they clearly like didn't have permission to like go into the cul-de-sac. So it was like, hey, we'll just like set up here and film. Um I wonder if I wonder if they did try or had they tried, if like the people who live there would have been like, yeah, come film or whatever.
Right.
But I don't know if this was like a spur of the moment thing, who knows. But it was weird. It was weird to see. Could you imagine seeing the person who used to live in your house just like peering over at the house from like yonder? That would be weird.
Hey,
I
buddy,
still
what you
get
doing out here?
the previous owners of the house, of my house. I still get their mail sometimes. I'm like, don't they like, like if I saw them looking at my house, I'd be like, what's going on?
Right. You're coming back to rob us.
With a film crew?
I'm about to be on the YouTubes. But
Yeah.
the whole weird thing too is the fact that he's reminiscing about how awesome it was to live in the cul-de-sacs. But I distinctly, like, especially based off what Jen had said and what we had heard about, a lot of things were confirmed during the course of this episode. Jen saying that Kody spent a lot of time over at Robyn's house. Kody later admits that he was tired of hiding his relationship with Robyn and how much he loved her and adored her and appreciated her from the rest of the families and pretended like he didn't love her as much as he did and prefer to be with her in front of the other women. So he admitted that in this episode. I thought that was weird. But in addition to that, the whole reason why you guys moved from Las Vegas to Arizona was for two reasons. One, you wanted to recapture the funds that were in these houses that were belonged to these women who you were having trouble with. So all of a sudden you want to move from Las Vegas to Arizona so you can force them to sell their house and put it into the family fund so you have access to their house. Two, I think there's also a strong position where Kody wanted to move away to separate the family so that when he did spend time over at Robyn's house, he had plausible deniability. Whereas in the cul-de-sac, he couldn't say, I wasn't at Robyn's house when I see your ass go into Robyn's house and don't come out of Robyn's house till the next morning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that was a part of it too. I also think that when he's looking through the gate, Kody made a lot of money when he sold the McMansion. He bought it for $890. He sold it for 1.7.
Yeah.
If you look at the cul-de-sac, he had those houses. They were about 500 a piece, right? Those houses are going for at least $1 million to $1.5 million a piece now.
Yep.
So he essentially lost. So that he could get $1.7 million. He lost anywhere from 4.5 to $6 million Good job, Kody.
Yeah.
Well done. Well
Cody
done.
is not the king of good financial moves, that's
Right.
for sure.
Like Robyn is winning. That was a great investment for Robyn, but
Oh,
it's just a
totally, yeah.
horrible investment for the rest of the family.
Yeah.
But so what did you think about the last thing I wanted to point out was when they were talking about like the obviously he confessed that he loved Robyn more and all that stuff. But then he said he said the weirdest thing. He said, the one thing I want is for Christine, Janelle, and even I guess those lesser degree Mary to stop trash talking me and to stop being jealous of Robyn because that's ruining everything. So he's blaming the fact that they're trash talking him, but they're jealous of Robyn
Mhm.
on why the relationships don't work. So what did you think about that?
I think Cody is the king of projection. He accuses everyone else of doing the things that he does. He literally is sitting there trash talking people and then saying people are trash talking him. Nobody is really trash talking him.
Right,
they're just saying like we don't have a good relationship with him.
right,
Essentially.
right. It's not working out. I wish he would come around. And the sad part is, and just to touch on this real quick with regard to the trash talk thing. The
Mhm.
sad part is that when it came to Savannah, he could have a relationship with Savannah if he picked up the phone and called. He just doesn't get along with her mom. But that has nothing to do with Savannah. So that's sad. In
Mhm.
addition to that, he's talking about, well, I couldn't celebrate, go to Christine's house, celebrate Savannah graduating from school, and I was left out. Here's the thing, you're not with her mom anymore. So what
Right.
that means is that she has a graduation party for Savannah, then you have a graduation party for Savannah. That's all that means. And
I
there was
want
no reason why he couldn't do that.
And I wonder if they didn't leave it up to Savannah and Savannah was like, "No, the dad who raised me, Logan, he's here. So I'm cool."
Right? I'm not really worried about coming to see your dad. And the sad part, like I
Yeah.
said, if Kody would have called, and again, that's an expression of the closeness of the relationship that you actually have with your kids. Because if you had a relationship with Savannah and she had a party, you could have invited her to your house. It doesn't have to be the day after the graduation or the week of graduation. It could be a couple weeks or even a month later. And you have her out to the house and you say, we want to have all your friends who are here in Arizona can come to the party.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? You could actually have a better party because the party that Christine had was in Utah, which would have been hours away from Arizona. It would have been a house full of the family. Yes,
Mhm.
granted, the family. But you, Kody, dad of the year, could have had the party for Savannah and her friends who were graduating. So you could have actually had, technically for Savannah, from Savannah's perspective, could have been a better party if you did shit the right way,
Yep.
you know? But what were your overall thoughts about the episode?
I thought it was a really good episode. The brother trip was weird. I don't think it was really necessary, but other than that, but that was only like 5 minutes of the episode, so it was like whatever.
Yeah,
What did you
wasted
think of the
time.
episode?
You got to see Kody come out with his hairnet on. That was awesome.
Okay, that was great. And that is why I think production hates Cody. Cause like I think had that guy who quit, whatever, Tim Gibbons, whatever that guy's name was, I think Cody would have made them edit that out
Right.
before.
He should have made him edit it out. That was horrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was overall. I thought it was a good episode. Like I said, we found out more information about Coyote Pass. I think Coyote Pass is important because this is the last match or the last front of the conflict between the OG3 and Kody.
Yep.
Like, especially, well, maybe we could get into like the custody orders and the fight for Truly later on, but for right now, the last vestige of this marriage is essentially wrapped up in the Coyote Pass. Whatever they're going to walk away with from this marriage with is going to come right out of the sale of Coyote Pass, the proceeds from the sale of Coyote Pass. So,
Yes.
I kind of wish for that. But overall, I liked the episode. I thought it was a decent enough episode. But
Me
what do
too.
you have coming up this week? Do you have any videos we should be watching out for?
Yeah, I'm gonna be talking about how Kody there is no more cloak of charity with Kody.
All
That's for
right.
sure. What about you?
Well, video that I was trying to put out. I got sick last week, so I couldn't put it out. So I want to do a video just talking about Mary's situation with leaving the. I guess it makes even more sense this week because of what happened. But just talking about Mary leaving this relationship and how a lot of times we're very hard on Mary for not leaving right away. But I've stayed in relationships too long and
Yeah.
stayed around people too long. So
Yeah.
I get it. And I just talking about like how easy it is to get pulled into that situation.
Yes.
So
For sure.
we'll see how it goes and how it pops up. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's where we are. Before we go, I want to thank all the moderators. I had Brittany, not Brittany, and Carmel Cuties in the house. Who
Yes.
did you have?
I think I saw Tiffany. Not definitely saw
BKK
Tiffany.
was there too.
Yeah. Oh, B
Yeah.
Cat. Yeah. So yeah, thank you to all of our moderators.
Yeah, thank you, moderators. Let me give you guys the moderators. Thank you so much, as well as the chat for keeping it awesome, cool, per
Yes.
huge, keeping it very entertaining in the chat while we're chopping it up. Appreciate everybody. So let me give everybody in the room, including the moderators, especially the moderators, a big round of applause. Thank you guys so much. All this. Thank you guys. So overall, make sure you like the video. Appreciate you guys like the videos, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, all the good YouTube stuff. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for chatting with us. Make sure you look for our videos as we move into the next week. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. For Sarah from Reality Squad, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'm James from My Take On Reality. Subscribe to my channel. And we're out, guys. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.